Hello everyone, welcome to Thrills and Food for this very special instalment. I'm doing something a bit different today. We're going to be counting down my top 20 outside of UK theme parks. So followers on Instagram might have seen me actually post this on there, but I want to go through it and discuss it as well, so that everybody can add their comments, and feel free to, if you've got any different ideas or anything different, feel free to put in the comments below and let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. So just before we start, it's occurred to me, I've had this channel for quite a while now, but if you don't follow me on Instagram and you're new to the channel, just to let you know, my name's Steve. I absolutely love theme parks. Anything themed attraction is what we live for. We've been doing it for many years now, and we just want to share our experiences with everybody on the channel. So we'll kick off then with our top 20 outside UK theme parks. So here we go. So first up, we have got number 20. It is Legolands of both Florida and California. I've placed them both together because they're very, very similar in terms of rides and what they've got. Great, nice little parks, especially if you've got families or children. Some good little rides there to experience. What they've also got, the Florida one, because that was turned into Legoland from Cypress Gardens. They actually inherited a wooden roller coaster there called the Coastersaurus, which is a really nice GCI coaster, and that was transferred into, I think it was 2011 that it became Legoland there, and the one in California's been there since 99, so that's been there quite a bit longer, but both really good parks. That's one thing I need to point out, there is no bad parks in this list whatsoever. So if you've got any opinions where you think something might be higher up, you think something should be lower down, you don't understand my opinion, again, feel free to have that conversation and we'll discuss it. So that is Legolands of California and also Florida that are at number 20 and 19 respectively. So next up we have got at number 18. So number 18 we have got SeaWorld of San Diego. Now this is an absolutely beautiful place. I absolutely love San Diego. It is one of my favourite places. However, the reason this is lower down the list, and it is actually below its cousin of SeaWorld Florida for me, is because it doesn't have that same collection of B&Ms. They've got such a great collection, but I'll get onto them further on in the list, if it is indeed on the list. Yeah, they've got, from my memory, they've got a Mack launch coaster called Manta, which doesn't live up for me as good as the B&M flying coaster that they've got at SeaWorld in Orlando. They've also got the Journey to Atlantis. Again, it's a great water coaster, but it's not as good as the Orlando one. It's not as long, and the theming around it isn't as good either. So, but still really enjoyable, but it's just when you've got to compare it to the other ones, I don't find it as good as the Orlando version. New for this year, they've also got Emperor, which is a new dive coaster, which is a first for them. So that's something I'm really want to get back out there and try. But for the moment, for the time being, that's where we've got it. So let's move on further down the list. Okay, next up at number 17, is Epcot, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. Now, this is a great place. I absolutely loved this as a kid. Lots of scientific ingenuity and fascinating things. I absolutely loved coming here. The other thing is, for me, it has dated a little bit, and it's, in some ways, it's been left behind a little bit, and it is playing catch up, and there's a lot of work undergoing there now. One thing that you can't knock is the ride that they do have. So they've got Soaring, they've got Test Track, which which obviously ended up being the initial prototype for what is now Radiator Springs Races at California. So, but they do have some fascinating rides, and of course recently added, they've got Ratatouille, they've got Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which is of course coming soon. So things really are looking up, and there's a lot of new things to come from Epcot, and it's going to be absolutely fascinating. I can't wait to get back there in the coming years to be able to discover all this when it's all been done up, and it'll probably end up moving further up the list because it is a park that I really love. And one thing I'm keen to see as well is the new nighttime spectacular, of course, because Reflections of Earth is now gone, and they've got the new show, so that's something I'm really keen to see in person because it looks absolutely fantastic. And as we know, there's no such thing as a bad Disney park, is there? So that is Epcot. So what is next? Okay, next up, number 16, we have got Ferrari Land at Portaventura in Salou. Now this has its own separate gate, and the reason why this is further down the list is because it's got its own separate gate. So it's a beautiful, beautiful park. I absolutely love Red Force. It's a great launch coaster, intermin launch coaster, of course, up to 115 miles an hour. 5 seconds, I think it is. Lightning quick. Really, really good ride. And of course, it's got the lap bars, so it makes it feel so much better than you do when you're on the likes of Rita and Stealth. Those lap bars make a massive difference for me. So, whilst that ride is incredible, and the theming is spectacular there, and I absolutely love it. However, it's a small park and it's not a full day for me. It's a half day at best. So for that reason, that is why it's my number 16. Get some more rides, get some more stuff in there, and it'll move up the list, no doubt whatsoever, because if they can get anything else that comes close to Red Force, it's going up that list, definitely. So, let's move on. Next up the list, at number 15, we have got Six Flags Discovery Kingdom in California, in Vallejo. Now, this is a really nice park. From my memory, it was quite a long time ago since I've been here. There's such a nice collection of rides here. There's Medusa, which is an absolute world-class B&M flawless coaster. Really enjoyable. It's a great flawless coaster. There's nothing much more to say about it than that. There's also, this is where I experienced my first Premier rides. Skyrocket 2 coaster. It's a decent coaster. It's not much to say. It's a great ride. And one thing that's happened since I've been, which I really, really want to get back to try out, is the change from Roar, the GCI wooden coaster that was there in 2016. That was changed into being the Joker RMC coaster, and that's one of the things I really, really want to get back to. And again, that's where this list is constantly changing, and on a different day it might even be further up my list, but there's a great collection of animals as well there, so and shows. But yeah, it's a great, nice little park, and if ever you happen to be in California, definitely get out there and try it, because I really enjoyed it. So that's number 15. Okay, up next at number 14 is Universal Studios Orlando. Now this is a bit of a controversial one, because I know a lot of people say, how can you have Universal Studios Orlando so far down the list? And the reason's this for me. It's because there's a lot of over-reliance on screen-based rides, and I know that's kind of what Universal Studios is about. Yes, it's about putting you in the films and all that sort of stuff. Great, but have some variety, Universal. Come on, and they're starting to do it. To be fair, I know they've got Rip Ride Rocket. Yeah, decent coaster. That's fine. Although half the time you go on it, the music doesn't work. But never mind, it's a decent coaster. So then they've got Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, don't bother. Don't enjoy it. I prefer Twister. I assume it must have been cost or something like that. But Twister's great. I loved it. Maybe I'm in the minority. Let me know. What's your thoughts? And then also, probably the worst ride that they've ever introduced at Universal Studios, Fast and the Furious. Universal. Oh dear. What a ride. Oh well, never mind. The less said about that, the better. But moving on, you can't argue with the development of the Potter universe that they have put in. Wow, what incredible theming, what an immersive area of a park. Probably one of the most immersive areas that there is in a theme park. Absolutely incredible. And that is what it started off, this whole created immersive areas. So from there, that's when Disney started creating Avatar, and then we've got Star Wars afterwards, and it all came from Universal upping the game really with creating a Harry Potter area, which is just absolutely immense. So the Hogwarts Express, a ride of its own. For anyone who's not been before, you might just think that it's a monorail that takes you between the parks. Yeah, absolutely is, but it's a ride in itself, and both ways, different rides as well. So thoroughly recommend it. If you haven't been on it, definitely get yourself over there, get yourself on that, and experience the Hogwarts Express, because it is an absolutely phenomenal experience. Also, on top of that, there's the Gringotts Bank. Some people don't like it. I really enjoy it. I love the mixture of again, there is screen-based. It is a screen-based ride to a certain extent, but it's mixed in with real world theming and also roller coaster experience as well. And I thought it's all brought together to create an absolutely incredible experience. And yeah, I really do enjoy it. There is no such thing on this list, by the way, as a bad park, as I mentioned earlier on. I enjoy every single one of these parks when I go and visit them. So it might seem like I'm being critical, but it's absolutely not. I still go there and I still enjoy every single minute that I go to any of these parks. And for me, there's no such thing as a bad theme park. So yeah, so that's Universal Studios Orlando. What will be next? Let's find out. I appreciate always with these lists, it's always down to personal experiences. Sometimes you can go to a park and you can have not the best day. You might experience bad customer service. It might just be horrendously busy. There might be a bad group of people that just make your experience not the nicest. So I appreciate that it's individual experiences can make or break your theme park trip. So next up for us is number 12, Disney's Animal Kingdom. Now, this is a park that for us was pretty much a half-day park, and we used to go there. We'd enjoy Expedition Everest until the Yeti stopped working pretty early on and hasn't been working since. But again, I'm being critical there because it's a great ride. It's really enjoyable. It's so fun. And I really enjoy it every single time, and the theming around it, and the whole the legend of the Yeti and the exhibition is it's just so fun, and it's a great family coaster and really enjoyable and so unique as well. And yeah, it's great. So and the Cali River Rapids, again, they're really good because when I first went, and I took my son, who was I think he was 2 when we went in, but they have a special bar that comes down over the rapids, so which meant that he could go on at a smaller height and still be safe in there. So that's really good. So if anybody who's got children and they're unsure, because they are quite dangerous, these sorts of rides, if you've got small kids and taking them on. But yeah, it's great at Disney because they have this little bar that comes across him, and he was able to go on it and enjoy it safely. So yeah, it was a half-day park by and large until, that is, 2017. When Pandora, the world of Avatar, opened. Now, for me, Flight of Passage is the best, or certainly one of the best dark rides in the world. It is absolutely phenomenal. From the moment you join the queue line and you're going through, and it feels like you're just immersed into the actual film of Avatar. It feels like you're part of it. And then you're going through all the caves and the mines, and then you go into the labs, and you actually see the submersed body in the actual vessel, which is so incredibly created because you can actually see little pulses on his face moving. You can see his chest going up and down, fingers moving, and that's because of the unique design that they've actually created. So it's not a true animatronic in that sense, because they use airbags to make it move more freely, and it's so clever. And then on top of that, they've got the riverboat, the Navi riverboat ride, which is an absolutely great ride, culminating in the fantastic, incredible animatronic at the end, which doesn't give anything away, by the way. It is phenomenally created. It is absolutely amazing, but it's very short. I think this ride could do to be a good few minutes longer, personally, the riverboat ride. But it is a lovely, enjoyable ride that the whole family can enjoy. So Flight of Passage, I'm pretty sure that's a 1.4 height, so small kids can't go on that. But the way their baby swap works at Disney is great, because you just go up and then they give the fast pass to, and then the child and the other parent can ride together again. It used to be up to 3 people, but I believe it's 2 now. But it's still great. So yeah, that is Animal Kingdom, my number 12. Okay, next up we have got number 11, and that is Disney's California Adventure. And this is a really nice park. Again, it's Disney, so it's find it hard to say anything bad about it. But here is a place where this was Robin's probably scariest ride ever. So for anyone who's not familiar with it, they have a Ferris wheel there called the Pixar Pal Around, formerly known as Mickey's Fun Wheel, which just so anybody else looks like a normal Ferris wheel. However, some of them have special swinging gondolas, and they're attached to a track, and these gondolas swing. which yeah, if you've not seen it, have a look. And some of people's reactions are absolutely hilarious. And they actually come with a sick bag actually in the wheel itself as well. So yeah, it's quite fun. But make sure if you do go on it, you do go on the swinging gondolas, because that is something that you can't miss. And it's something, certainly a unique ride to there. And it's not anything I've ever seen before. If anybody else has been on anything similar, yeah, drop it down in the comments below. Let me know. Let me know what you think about it. I think it's great. The next one is what was known as California Screaming, but was changed to the Incredi Coaster, which is an intermin launch coaster, and it's quite a lot of people's first inverting coaster, because it's one of the few inverting Disney coasters, and it's really long. It's a really long ride. I think it was actually the longest inverting coaster in the world at one point. I don't know if it still is or not, but it was. But yeah, that's a great family coaster, really enjoyable. And then also, this was a park as well that was probably a little bit short on rides and attractions, and this is something that's been changed over the years, because what they've had since now is Cars Land, and I absolutely love Cars Land. Radiator Springs Races is absolutely brilliant, because what they've done is they took the idea that they've got a test track and then made it into a big grand thing where there's a lot more racing, there's a lot more things going on, and you're immersed much more into the cars ride itself. Really enjoyable. I absolutely love this ride and thoroughly recommend it. Yeah, that's Radiator Springs Races. And then, of course, you've got the Flo's V8 Diner, you've got the Cozy Cones, and there's all sorts of other things to see. So, yeah, again, let me know. Do you agree? Should it be higher? Should it be lower? Let me know. But, yeah, I love the California Adventure. I think it's a great park. Yeah, so let's move down the list then. Let's see what's next. Okay, next on my list, we have broken into the top 10. So, what are we going to see at number 10? Well, it's one that would have been a lot further down the list if you'd have asked me about 3 or 4 years ago. I'd have put it a lot further down the list, because there wasn't the great deal of attractions there. It's undergone a bit of a drastic makeover in recent years. So, number 10 is Hollywood Studios at Orlando. This is a park that used to centre itself a little bit at like Universal Studios in Orlando, and Hollywood to a certain extent, where the focus was putting you in the centre of the movie and you become the star attraction, so to speak. But as theming's become more immersive, and that's become more of a focus, they've tried to shift away from that. At one point, they were even talking about changing the name from Hollywood Studios, and there was going to be a name change, but that got shelved, and we're staying as Hollywood Studios. I preferred it as MGM personally. I loved it as MGM Studios. Again, let me know, do you prefer MGM Studios or do you prefer Hollywood Studios? I'm all about the MGM. So, for recent years, we've seen it change, because we've seen the addition of Toy Story Land. We have seen, just last year I think it was, one of my favourites actually was the Great Movie Ride. I absolutely love that ride. I thought it was fantastic. That's gone. We've now got the Mickey and Minnie, its first ride attraction. Can't believe it's taken this long for Disney to get their own Mickey and Minnie centred ride. But they have. It's here, and it's an incredible ride that you must check out. Personally, I loved Movie Ride. Shouldn't have got rid of it, but that's just nostalgia for me. I absolutely love that. Yeah, so let me know what you think about that. And then I can't talk about Hollywood Studios without talking about, first of all, the Tower of Terror. This is, without doubt, the greatest themed drop tower ride going. I absolutely love it. See, I don't like drop tower. Drop towers aren't my thing. Okay. And generally speaking, I'm not really a fan of them. But how can you go to Hollywood Studios? Oh, that's not a complete mind melt then. I've no idea what happened. How can you go to Hollywood Studios and not go on Tower of Terror? It is, without doubt, from the moment that you join the queue line and you get the ushers, who are so good in character, they're absolutely fantastic, and then you go through into your loft, and especially, I think the Florida one in many ways is the best because you get the trackless ride operating system where the lift shaft actually moves forward into the actual cart for you to drop up and down, which you don't get at either the California or the Paris ones that I've been on. So yeah, and that kind of builds a bit of the tension up for me. And I do hope that it doesn't change the theming, because the whole Twilight Zone theme is brilliant for me. Same with the Paris one. I don't want that to change, because I know that's kind of on the cusp, the edge of the Marvel area, which is going to be implemented at Disneyland Paris. So I hope that it doesn't change, but I've got a feeling the one at Paris probably will. Florida, who knows, because there's all sorts of licensing issues with regards to Marvel. So yeah, Tower of Terror, it is great. And finally, Hollywood Studios. You cannot mention Hollywood Studios without mentioning Star Wars. Wow, this theming. Me personally, I am a great Star Wars fan. So the fact that you can get immersed into an area, even the little Coke bottles, which themed Coke bottles, that's amazing. So that is one of the best things. I was so excited to get one of these themed Coke bottles. You can get the blue milk as well, which is great. And then, of course, the rides. They're immense. There's Smuggler's Run and Rise of Resistance. Yeah, great. Absolutely phenomenal. And how it's all themed is just... and again, going back to Harry Potter, when they built the first bit with Forbidden Journey, everybody else has really had to up their game, and they have. And it's fair to say that... Star Wars Land's Edge of the Galaxy is just absolutely incredible. So yeah. Okay, so we've broken into the top 10 now. They can all be interchangeable, and again, I mentioned earlier on, it depends on your experience on the day. This could be further up anybody else's list, but for us, this rests firmly at number 9. Now, there's no doubting that Six Flags Magic Mountain is an absolute mecca for coaster enthusiasts. It is the place. There's 19 coasters there, and I think it's 3 water rides as well. And without doubt, it has got the ultimate bucket list coaster for most people to tick off in X2. It's my favourite roller coaster that I've ever been on. There's an experience like I've never ever experienced before, which if you've not seen it, you're not familiar with it, get on YouTube, watch what happens on it, and it is, from the moment you start going backwards up the lift hill, and you're hearing the music, you're hearing you get the full immersive experience. It's not just a case of there's a roller coaster, get yourself on it, off you go. You're fully immersed into the sound and experience when you're going on it. So you go backwards up the lift hill, and from the moment that 90-degree drop straight down, it's like a skydiving experience in many ways, and then turning at various points. Now, Robin did really like this because it's like an experience almost like falling, really, in many ways, and you've no idea where you're going. But yeah, it's a bucket list coaster. If you're a fan of roller coasters, this is one that you really want to get to. It's really one you want to go on, and I can't wait to get back and go on it again, because it is a really, really enjoyable coaster. But there's loads of other coasters that get forgotten about there. So even ones like Scream. This is the car park coaster, parking lot coaster. This is one thing you kind of have to get around at Six Flags Magic Mountain. They have loads of really, really great coasters, fantastic coasters, the best that you've seen. But the thing is, amongst theming, it's not the best. So Scream, B&M Flawless coaster, great coaster, probably comparable with Kraken in many ways. But where it's not comparable with Kraken is theming. Yeah, it's just not great with theming at all. But who cares? When you're on the ride, it's a great experience. But then they've got Rise Like Apocalypse, a great GCI wooden coaster, absolutely phenomenal. One of my favourites. Between that and Ghost Rider are 2 of my favourite wooden coasters. So yeah, Six Flags Magic Mountain. There's so much to do there. It's full on. Yeah, incredible. I think one thing reason why we had it down there, because I was mentioning about personal experiences, when we've been in the past, we've got the fast passes where you get your wristband and you could stay on for a second ride. The problem was people queuing up don't necessarily understand that that's what you're doing. So you get loads of people shouting abuse at you, telling you to get off the ride. So it makes a bit of an uncomfortable experience, really, because you paid the money to have this fast pass, and then people are shouting abuse because their friends are getting on the ride and they can't get on. So I can understand where they're coming from, but so that makes you experience a little bit not as good as what it should be. So yeah, Six Flags Magic Mountain. If you've not been, get yourself out there and experience X2. So next up, number 8 is Disneyland Paris. This is one place that's really, really handy for us. Just a short flight across, just an hour. You can drive it. You can even drive it. Or if you live down that way, just get on the tunnel, get yourself through, an hour into Paris. Dead easy to get to for that Disney experience. In terms of that, that's great. And for me, I think that Disneyland Paris has the best, most beautiful castle. It looks stunning. It really does. It's massive. That's pretty much it. You've got your standard rides that you'll see at any of the Disneylands or Magic Kingdoms, and which is great. Yeah, it's easy. It's easy for British people to go, Disneyland Paris, it's not as good, but it is. There's no such thing as a bad Disney park. Yeah, and I've put both Disney parks into this one for the purposes of this. So this is something that they've got the Avengers campus as well, which is going to be opening up in June time. So that's going to be interesting. We'll have to get back there and try that out as well. So they're going a bit of a regen as well, because they're getting there's talk about Toy Story expansion area, perhaps getting a Slinky Dog Dash ride. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. But there's all sorts of there's a Frozen land getting put in, which has been confirmed, and then there's the what was Catastrophe Canyon and the backstage tour. I'm glad they got rid of that in many ways, because the backstage tour, they tried to emulate the Universal Studios backstage tour, and it was never as good. There was just loads of cars from films that you've never heard of, and I'm a film enthusiast as well, and I absolutely love films. I adore films, but when it's films that nobody's really heard of, and it's just cars from films that were like 40 years ago that nobody really watched in the first place, it's just not really that great. So if I said in the vlog, actually, when we actually went to Disneyland Paris, if you want to do a backstage tour, go to an actual studios and do a backstage tour in the studios, because the only ones that seem to do that properly is a park I'm going to talk about later on further up the list. But yeah, so that Catastrophe Canyon has been changed into a car Catastrophe Canyon. I don't know if this is temporary. I don't know if it's just a fill-in whilst they do the rest of the work, or whether that is what's going to be there permanently. But it seems like it's a bit of a filler. But it's a nice little addition. I thought it was better than the backstage tour personally. And my son, he really enjoyed it. He thought it was great because it's cars, isn't it? So it's really fun. And Catastrophe Canyon was always the best bit of the that backstage tour anyway for me. So so that's Disneyland Paris. It's a great, beautiful park, and as well, I think Thunder Mountain has the best setting across the lake. It's so photogenic. It looks beautiful, especially as the sun's going down. Disneyland Paris. Number 8. Okay, next up is number 7. Former Universal Park. Absolutely beautiful, stunning park, with one of the best skylines of a theme park. Really, it's absolutely stunning. And it's one of those places as well. If you don't even like roller coasters, you can go there and you can enjoy it and just take everything all in. And there's so many nice little rides to go on. So number 7 is Portaventura in Salou. So here, from the moment you go in and you see the Mediterranean village and around the lake and the beautiful fountains, and you can see across the other side, you can see the skylines of the coasters. It's so nicely themed, and the people there are lovely and are very, very helpful. And it is one of my favourite parks. That's why it's number 7, because I just really enjoy it every single time I go there. From the moment you get to Furious Baco, is it Baco? Baco? Well, tell me. Either way, which is the Intamin Wing Coaster. That is a great launch on that. It's particularly on the front there. I think that was... we definitely went on that before we went on Red Horse. And I remember when it was new. Yeah, because it was new when we first went on it, and sat on the front row. And to be honest, I didn't even know what to expect. So once that launched kicked in, you really do feel that the force on that launch and the front row. It's absolutely phenomenal. Doesn't last overly long, but it's a great ride. But that's a great ride on its own. And if that was the star attraction in that park, you'd feel quite happy with it. But it's not. It's easy to forget rides like Dragon Khan, the old B&M classic that was there. And of course, the thing about this park is that who else helped design it? The great John Wardley had an input in this park. So you know it's going to be impressive, because he's not going to get involved in anything that isn't good, is he? So, and then one of my favourite coasters there, Shambhala, the B&M Hyper. Wow, what a coaster that is. And for me, again, let me know what you think about this. I actually think this coaster has the best seating arrangement, because there isn't a bad seat on this ride. So the way you have two pairs sat together, two sat either side, two together, two together. So pretty much it feels like every seat's a front seat. But the air times, what an airtime machine this coaster actually is. It is absolutely incredible. It's a great ride. Whether you're at the front, whether you're at the back, it's a great ride. And if you get a back seat ride on this, it is incredible. So that is Portaventura Salou. So this is another one, because it's only in Barcelona. For us here in the UK, it's another hour's flight over there, and you can be there and back in a day if you wanted to. It's so easy to get there. But it's just, it's great. It makes it so much easier for us. But Portaventura, fantastic. Let's find out what is number 6 is an absolute nostalgia park in many ways, because this is where it all began. This is where it all started. This is where theme parks were taken to the next level. And this is where you've got all the originals. So that is why I've got Disneyland California right here at number 6. So when you've got you go in and you can see where Walt Disney's actual flat was, where he'd overlook the park, and you could see the construction getting made. So you can feel the history in there. And this is the original park. This is the original design. This is what he wanted originally, which you can really feel that when you're in there as well, which is so enjoyable. And then they've got rides like the Matterhorn, which is the first tubular steel coaster, of course. So absolutely, I absolutely adore this park. And just seeing the original Disney park, and it's still being loved. The one thing that you will notice is that as you enter the park, because everything's moved on, and you've seen Magic Kingdom, you've seen Disneyland Paris, or if you've been fortunate enough to go to Japan, you'll have seen their castle. It seems small, and it is quite small in comparison, but you've got to think this is the original one. This is the original concept, so it is still absolutely amazing, and I absolutely love this park. So so that is Disneyland California. Next up, number 5. So number 5, we have got Knott's Berry Farm in California. This park is absolutely stunning, so beautiful. This is another park that you can go to and not even go on a roller coaster and have such an enjoyable day. We've never had a bad experience at Knott's Berry Farm. It is stunning. It's just clean. The theming is beautiful. Everything about it is absolutely amazing. So you've got the old ghost town. You've got working old shops and stuff. The old town bits, which are absolutely they're just so interesting. They're absolutely brilliant. There's all like character shows that go on at various points throughout the day within the old saloons. On the train, you'll see characters come through and do impromptu street theatre, train theatre. Which is just all adds to your experience as well. But that's without even mentioning they've got Silver Bullet, which is, for me, I think that's a really underrated B&M invert. It's a great ride, and it's not one that ever really gets talked about because it gets lost with things like Montu and Nemesis. But it's a great ride. And then you've got Accelerator, of course, which is just absolutely immense, because that again. It's very similar to what Stealth here in the UK, but it's just a lap bar, and that for me just makes such a massive difference. Just having a lap bar, yeah, great. And of course, they've had the additions of Hang Time, which is a phenomenal coaster there, and there's plans afoot for them to have a new Geiger coaster put in there, which is going to be absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to get over there and try that out. But it is an absolutely beautiful park, and also not to forget that as well, it's not just coasters and rides and theme in there. The food is phenomenal because they've got Mrs. Knott's Chicken Dinner, which is famous, absolutely famous restaurant there, and also not to forget that how this park began with its berry history. There's actually shops where you can still go buy all the jams and preserves in there, which is it's just, there's a lot of history in this park, and it's often gets called America's first amusement park, and you can feel that when you're in there because it is so enjoyable and it's such a nice park, and that is one I would have that as a bucket list park for anyone because I absolutely adore it. And yeah, Knott's Berry Farm in California, get yourself out there. So number 4. What do I have at number 4? Well, I'm going to be a bit of a hypocrite now because number 4 is Universal Studios Hollywood. So, why am I a hypocrite? I was just saying I don't like screen-based rides, wasn't I? Well, again, this is personal experience. So, I absolutely love films. Films are absolutely, they are secondary to theme parks to me. So if you can put them both in one place, that is a perfect place for me. And the fact that here you've got good rides here. So you've got the Mummy, which is phenomenal. You've got Jurassic World. You've got Transformers, which Transformers is world class. It's one of the best dark rides going. But yes, I did say about screen-based rides. However, the backstage tour here is absolutely phenomenal. It's amazing here. So it lasts, I don't know, it's an hour or two, but it goes on and on. But the difference is with this backstage tour is that you drive through the sound stages in the lots where they are actually making films. So we've seen numerous people walking around there when they've been making films, and they all wave, and they all give a bit of a shout to you as you go past, which is really, really cool. It all adds to the experience, right? But not only that, you've actually got an addition of rides that you'd queue up for separately in other parks. So in Universal Studios Hollywood, you used to have the Jaws ride, you used to have Earthquake, you used to have, you've got King Kong. All of these rides are things that are actually included in the backstage tour. So the fact that not only are you going around and you drive through places where, like the street where Desperate Housewives were, for example, if that's your thing, you might like that. Or you drive through War of the Worlds set with the crashed plane, which is all still there. It's absolutely massive, monumental set that's still there, and you can drive through it. And what's made it more incredible is during Halloween Horror Nights, this is the time to come, because you go up there, you get dropped off at night, and you get to walk through Bates Motel, not actually in it, but through the set of it, where it's themed around horror attraction. And not only that, you get to walk around the War of the Worlds crash plane set, and the fact that you've got characters kind of jumping out of the air all adds to it. That makes it absolutely amazing. So that for me is my favourite horror themed attraction, is when you go to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood. And my favourite experience was that when, for those that are familiar with him, the great John Murdy, who designs a lot of these mazes that are at Universal Hollywood, we actually got to go through the maze, one of the mazes with him. So that was absolutely amazing. Amazing maze. Yeah, it was great. Who knew? So yeah, Universal Studios Hollywood, and the fact that I like how it's set out as well, because it's a proper functioning working studio with world-class rides there as well, and there's an upper and a lower lot with different stuff. And when you're on the upper lot, you get the fantastic views out across California and Hollywood, and you can see the Hollywood sign and all that sort of stuff. And it's just amazing. It's great. I love California. It's one of my favourite places. So that's why it is up there on my list. So who wants to see what's number 3? Let's find out. Okay, we're on number 3 now. We're getting there. So number 3 is Busch Gardens, Tampa. Now this park is beautiful. This is another one that, again, there is absolutely world-class coasters at this park, without a doubt. It's got some of my favourite coasters at this park. But you can also go there and not go on a coaster and have the best day ever. It is absolutely incredible. It really is. So you could go there, go on the train, work your way around, just have an enjoyable stroll looking at all the animals, which the exhibits are absolutely immense. They're beautiful, they really are. They've got such good enclosures, and the animals are really, really, really well looked after. I just want to point that out because it's one of those things. It's a bone of contention with a lot of places because they don't have big enclosures and they don't like looked after. But Busch Gardens, they really, really do look well looked after, and they have such big enclosures so they have the animals, and then not only that, as soon as you go in the gate, you go into Egypt, and it is my favourite B&M invert Montu, which from the moment you go up the massive lift hill and drop down into it, all guns blazing, it just feels so fast and it's so long, and you just get thrown about all over the place. It is just a great coaster. For me, it's my favourite B&M invert. Do you agree with that? Do you think there should be something else? Do you think there's another one that should be better, higher up? Let me know what you think. So that's even without mentioning the fact that they've got Cumber. Now, recently this week, there's rumours going around that it's reaching the end of its serviceable life. For me, I still think it's incredibly smooth. I still think it's a great coaster, and I still think it's doing the job that it's meant to do. I'm not an engineer. I don't know. The rumour is it's at the end of its serviceable life. I hope not. It's a really, really great coaster. It's so fun. But one thing's for certain: if it is at the end of its serviceable life and it is being removed, you can bet your bottom dollar it's going to be something bigger, ultimately better. They're not going to take it out and put something rubbish in its place. I'm certain of that, because Busch Gardens they wouldn't do that. And of course, Shikra. What a great B&M diver this really is. It's such a massive coaster. The bizarre thing is though that it's so high, it's like 200 feet or whatever it is, straight down. However, I actually get more scared going on Oblivion, bizarrely. But yeah, because the theme is it's themed around the fact that you're meant to be like a bird that's swooping to go and get your prey, which doesn't put the same level of fear into you as what it does when you're on Oblivion, and which is why Oblivion does such a good job, considering it's the original one in 1998 when it was first put in, and it's still doing the great job that it is, even though it's one drop, and Shikra has two. But I really enjoy Shikra. It's a great coaster, and I particularly love the splashdown at the end. And it's a proper splashdown as well. It's not the fountains like you get on Shambhala that just go up either side, which makes it really fun, and everybody gets soaked at the side who's watching it. And I couldn't mention Busch Gardens without mentioning Gwazi. Now, I really enjoyed Gwazi. I thought this was a great wooden coaster. Now, it did start to get quite rough. It did start to get rough. And I think they did an absolute masterstroke, because at the time when they announced that it wasn't going to reopen, I was really disappointed. I thought, well, why are they doing that? Because it's effectively two coasters in one in many ways, because it's a racing coaster. But they've put in Iron Gwazi. Now, this ride looks absolutely insane, and I cannot wait to get back over there and try this out, because Gwazi was about 100 foot. This thing's over 200 feet, 91 degrees, straight down. Looks absolutely insane. Now, this is exactly the reason I want to get back out to Florida and get on this ride, because it looks immense. And as soon as I can, we will be out there, no doubt about it. It's not going to be this year, possibly next year, but this year we were all booked up for other plans, so unfortunately it won't be this year. But let me know if you've been on it. Let me know your thoughts of it, because it looks absolutely insane. So that's my number 3, Busch Gardens, Tampa. Right then, we have made it to number 2. So what is number 2? You can't have a top 20 overseas theme parks list without including Disney's Magic Kingdom. This is Disney on the grandest of scales. The most magic you'll get in any of other Disney parks. It is so massive, it's so vast. The fact that you've got the all new, I say all new, it's been there for a good number of years now, Fantasyland that was been put in. Sorry, all new Fantasyland that was Fantasyland. I've got it on the brain now. The all new Fantasyland that's been put in, where it's got the Ariel's Castle in there. It's got Be Our Guest restaurant, which we're thrills and food, so we love food. So get yourself in that Be Our Guest, because it's quite hard to get into. It's quite hard to get booked into. You can wait in line, but obviously that's the sort of thing that takes time out of your day, and you want to spend as little as possible of the time queuing for food as possible. You want to spend time eating it. You want to spend time going on the ride. So try and get yourself booked in. There's all sorts of apps that you can use which alert you when there's vacancies come up to get an appointment in there, which we used one. I can't remember what the app was called now. Google it. And there are special apps that will send you a message as soon as a gap comes up, and you can get yourself an appointment, get yourself booked in there. But you definitely have to for the experience, because it's really great. It's quick service, you're not in there too long, but the theme is just amazing in there, and it's definitely worth the experience, without a doubt. You've got the big castle, absolutely great castle. Not as good as my favourite one personally, Disneyland Paris, but it's great. As soon as you start heading down Main Street and you see that big castle, and of course, the fireworks have changed. Last time I went, we had Happily Ever After, and they've now changed. So I'm so excited to get back out there and see the new fireworks show, because that is something else that we need to chalk off and get seen, because it looks absolutely amazing as well. So Magic Kingdom, of course, you've got Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland's amazing. You get in there. One thing that I was quite disappointed by, I remember going as a child, going on the extraterrestrial alien encounter and being absolutely petrified. If anybody else went on that, by the way, get it in the comments and let me know what you think about it, because I remember being absolutely terrified. Because if anybody's not been on it, what happened basically, you were sat in there, you had shoulder restraints put over you, and you were sat in a big circle, and there's a big kind of glass tank in the middle of everyone, and then all of a sudden lights went off, and then you heard crunching of glass, and then what happened was things would poke you in the back, that jump on your shoulders and all sorts of stuff. And as you can imagine, because it was dark and you could smell all sorts of stuff as well, little kids were terrified. So they ended up changing it to the Stitch, Lilo and Stitch, and it was Stitch that's jumping around and doing all sorts of stuff and just basically being naughty, really. And then, but now it's kind of standing and operating, and I don't know what they're going to do with it. But I really, really enjoyed that when it was still the extraterrestrial. I can see it doesn't really fit with Disney in many ways, because it was so scary and terrifying. And then you've got Buzz Lightyear, Astro Rangers. Yeah, don't talk to me about shooting rides. I should be really good at shooting rides, but I'm not. I'm terrible. So I'm not good. But yeah, anyway, the less said about that, the better. But of course, one of the best rides, you won't believe, but one of my favourite rides is at Magic Kingdom. One of my favourite rides really is Tomorrowland People Mover. Yep, that's right. There's nothing better when you're at Magic Kingdom and you sit on that People Mover and you're going past the castle and you're just taking it all in. You can see people moving around. You're having a nice chill out, really hot day. You get in the shade and you just get to Page Mr. Morrow. Yeah, it's great. If you really like People Mover as well, just let me know what you think about it. Or is it just me? Am I old? Is that all it is? And then of course, Space Mountain. Space Mountain's phenomenal. It's a really great indoor coaster. Yeah, it's so enjoyable. How can you not like Space Mountain? And of course, coming soon, one of the big additions that they're going to be having is Tron, the Tron coaster. Yeah, it looks great. I can't wait for that to open and get out there and experience it. So all this is without mentioning things like It's a Small World. Now, love it or loathe it, it's been there for a lot of years, and you can't go to Disney without going on It's a Small World, Jungle Cruise, or any of those staple. Pirates of the Caribbean, definitely. They are the staples, especially when you get to Pirates of the Caribbean and you just smell the ride. That smell is absolutely, it just hits you as soon as you get there. It's addictive. It's amazing. I absolutely love that smell. So that's Pirates of the Caribbean. Yo ho, the pirate's life for me. And even better, so that it was made into the Pirates of the Caribbean ride story into the actual ride. That's made it miles better for me personally, because you get immersed into it more. Whereas before, it was a great ride. I really loved it, but the fact that it made it into the story that you understand with characters that you love and have seen on the screen, it just makes it so much better. And even more interesting was the fact that many times what Johnny Depp used to do, I don't know if he still does, he used to actually dress up as Jack Sparrow, actually on the ride, and surprise people on the ride dressed as Jack Sparrow. So how cool is that? Unfortunately, whenever I've been, he hasn't been doing it, but that would have been amazing to have been there and seen that. If you have actually seen it do that, let me know, because I am keen to know anybody's response if they have actually seen him do it, or whether it's just urban legend. Yeah, so that is number 2, Magic Kingdom, and just got one more to go. What do you think it'll be? Let's find out. So we've made it. This is my number 1 overseas theme park. My favourite theme park. The one that I really love going to. The one that I can't wait to get to. The one I want to go to as soon as I've left it. As soon as I've got there, I don't want to leave it. It's the ultimate place that when you're there, you're just sucked into everything that's there. You love everything about it, from the music. Do you know what? It's my number 1 park is Universal's Islands of Adventure. And the thing is, the moment you get there, and even when you park in your car, I know it's the same experience this part as when you go to Universal Studios Orlando, because you park in the same car park. But from the moment that you get there and you put into the multi-storey car park and you're parked in Spider-Man, E.T., Cat in the Hat, the moment, it just brings a smile to your face. And then you're walking through the car park and you get to go down the travelators to get to the park, through security, and you get to that fork at the lake where you go to Universal Studios one way, Islands of Adventure the other way, and it's just everything about that kind of entrance is just iconic. It's absolutely amazing, and I don't get a feeling like that at any other park that I've ever been to. And then you get into the park, and then you hear the music, and you see across the lake, and that's something that's vastly changed since I've been, because of course Velocicoaster is added now, so you've got a new dimension to the skyline, which is something that wasn't there when I last went in 2019. So and of course you go through the Cat in the Hat, Dr. Seuss area, and you've got the Cat in the Hat ride, which sadly it used to spin quite vigorously and fast, but unfortunately it just kind of turns now, so it's lost a little something on that ride. But yeah, we love Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss, we read a lot of Dr. Seuss with the kids, and they really enjoy it. So the fact that you get to go on that ride is, it's really enjoyable. And this whole area for families is great. Even when we didn't have kids, we used to go on the one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, because it's just fun. It's just a great ride. And the High in the Sky trolley ride, that's great. For years, that wasn't actually open. I remember coming when I was younger and seeing that, and the track was up there, but it just didn't open, and I don't know why. It was just there, but it didn't actually open until a lot later on. If you know why, just let me know, because I don't actually know the reasons behind it. Be interesting to find out. So once you go through the Dr. Seuss bit, and you've got the Lost Continent then, this is a park that's ever changing in many ways, because Lost Continent used to have Sinbad show, which isn't on anymore. That's presumably going to change. They used to have the Poseidon's Adventure. Now, which was a big kind of walking attraction show thing. Bizarrely, as we speak, hot off the press, this has just reopened after being closed for 2 years, and everyone thought it wasn't going to reopen again, or if it was going to get reopened, it was going to get rethemed to something like Harry Potter, or perhaps going to get turned into a Mario area, but it hasn't. It's reopened back as Poseidon's Fury, and it's a really, really good fun show. I think it's about 20 minutes, half an hour or something like that. And it's a really, really fun show. And the thing in that area has one of, if not my favourite restaurants in theme park world, and that is Mythos. This restaurant it's won numerous awards throughout the years for its service and its food. And what it has there is it's got great food. It's nothing special about it, in the sense that it's not anything out of the ordinary. It's just normal food, but it's the fact that the actual restaurant itself, it looks like it's kind of carved out of a big massive rock that you just kind of walk into, and then massively ornate carved windows, and you just look across the lake and you can see the Hulk going round, you can see the pterodon flyers the other way, and now of course you'll be able to see the Velocicoaster as well, which is something else that wasn't there when I went last time. The fact that you can see all this is absolutely amazing. And this, you've not even got to Harry Potter area, so you go through there and you get to Hogsmeade then, and you've got Journey, the Forbidden Journey, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, which that's quite old in many ways now. It's quite an old ride by the modern standards, but it's the theming around it, the fact that you queue through Hogwarts Castle is absolutely amazing. One thing I will say though about the Harry Potter area is I used to absolutely adore the great B&M inverted coasters, Dueling Dragons, which later turned on to Dragon Challenge, the old Fire and Ice or Hungarian Horntail and Chinese Fireball, I think it was. Which was your favourite? Did you like red, blue? Which one? I preferred the red personally. Thought it was a little bit faster. But yeah, let me know. Let me know what you think. But this is in true Universal style. They took that out, and a lot of people were in uproar because they took out this ride that was absolutely fantastic. The problem was, of course, that they weren't dueling anymore, so it kind of made a bit of a mockery of the ride. So when they were doing the great inversions where they partner up together, and it wasn't doing it, so it was just two separate rides that were doing their own thing, which is a bit pointless in many ways. And but yeah, I was sad to see it go. But then, of course, in true Universal style, that went, and then Hagrid's have come, and of course that's been an absolutely resounding success. Everybody loves Hagrid's ride. So, and that's the Harry Potter area, and then they've got King Kong. It's another just screen-based ride. The theming around when you're queuing up is great, but from what you get in there though, this is what I was on about with Universal Studios Hollywood, is when you're on the backstage tour, you're on the bus, you get that King Kong ride, pretty much there's quite a similar version of that ride as part of the backstage tour, whereas this is a ride on its own that you might have to queue for half an hour, depending how busy it is, to go on, to get that same experience. So yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Yeah, and it's got a low height limit on it as well, so you can take kids on it. But it's one of the things I took my 1-year-old on, and he was a bit scared. Big scary monkey attacking people. I can't understand it. Yeah. Anyway, so you get through there, and of course you've got Jurassic Park. Everyone loves Jurassic Park. Well, why wouldn't you like dinosaurs? It's great. So, and that is one of the best themed log flumes out there. Just how you're going through the lovely, serene, tranquil area of Jurassic Park, and you're getting told all about the history of the dinosaurs and how Mr. Hammond welcomes you in there, and he's telling you about stuff, and then all of a sudden hell breaks loose in true Jurassic Park style, and you're doing a big drop down 50 feet, splash down. Yeah, what can you say about it? It's great. And then Toon Lagoon. This is somewhere. See, originally when Islands of Adventure was the concepts came out, the whole park was meant to be themed to cartoons, and then Spielberg's got involved and various other people, and it ended up being little lands. But this is the bit that's left really of the cartoon. So you've got Rocky and Bullwinkle, the Ripsaw Falls. Absolutely, this drop seems so ridiculously steep, it's untrue when you're on it. I don't actually know what the angle is, but it seems ridiculously steep when you're on it. It's a great log flume, but you get absolutely drenched on it. You get so wet, but it's thoroughly enjoyable. And you get wet on that, and then you think, oh, it's all right, I'm wet now, I might as well go on Popeye, and that is just ridiculous. You might as well just go and stand in the shower. The Popeye, the Bilgejack barges are absolutely amazing. I love Bilgejack barges. Again, let me know what you think about Popeye's and Bluto's Bilgejack barges. I think they're really enjoyable. They're really fun. And the great thing about Florida, of course, is you get absolutely soaking wet, but you dry 10 minutes later. So, yeah, it's great. And I couldn't mention Islands of Adventure without mentioning Hulk. The Incredible Hulk Coaster, or the Hulk Coaster as it now is one of my favourite roller coasters. It really is. It's absolutely amazing. You get the theming because you're fully immersed in it. So I am one for being immersed into this experience. So you probably gather from the rest of this vlog. I absolutely love the entire experience. It's great just having a good roller coaster where you just go on and you experience it, that's fine. But when you can get fully immersed into it and you get the full experience of what it's about. So at the moment you join the queue line in the hull and you're queuing through the labs and you're getting the story about Gamma and Dr. Banner and all this sort of stuff, and then you sit yourself down in the actual coaster and you start going up and you get launched to the top, and it's what's a ride that I think's improved no end since it was retracked a few years ago, and it's made it so much better. And it's one of those things, because I know Nemesis is going to get it's getting its retracked now, and it's going to be made quieter, and there's a lot of fuss being made about is it going to, because it's losing its roar and all that sort of stuff. Well, the Hulk coaster has had the same treatment, and they've gotten a much more quieter track, but it's still got the same experience. So I don't think anyone's got anything to worry about. I think it's still going to be great. But yeah, Incredible Hulk coaster. Where does Incredible Hulk coaster rank for you? Let me know. But yeah, that is my top 20 outside UK theme parks. Let me know what you think. Have you got any different ones? This is, of course, subject to change, because there's loads of theme parks we haven't done. There's loads of theme parks we're going to do. We've got a big tour this summer, so we're going to do a big European tour. So there might be new parks that are added to that then. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you for following. I'm Steve. This is Thrills and Food, and thank you for joining. See you soon.